Hello, everyone. Luis Concepcion here from Strategic Profit Line Trading, coming to you with the plan of the week for week number 46. Here's our agenda for the week. Cover the news, provide a market overview. Earnings season is dwindling down. We only have 182 companies reporting this week. However, the government has reopened and NVIDIA reports earnings this week, so all eyes will be on NVIDIA. Here's our week 45 results. Provided 15 zones, went 5 and 1 in options, no entry were 6. Pay attention to Cisco and Twist and Circle actually closing the zone. So if you want to look at those stocks this week, might provide you another opportunity. Here's the outlook for the week. Again, some big boys reporting this week in Home Depot, Lowe's, and Target. But mainly, again, like I said, we have Wednesday afternoon, we have Nvidia, and then you got Walmart, Webull, Intuit, things of that nature. So I will cover those in the charts. But again, all eyes will be on NVIDIA on Wednesday afternoon. So if the market is flat Monday and Tuesday, that is the reason why. Here was our outlook. I went ahead and I updated what worked this week. As you can see for week 45, CART, SE, Oklo, Disney, and AMAT and NBIS was the only one that didn't work. However, that brings us to the year with 114. All right, moving into the charts and starting with the S&P 500. As you can see, Friday we had a sell-off, and then we opened up low into our zone of 663.19 to 658.21 and had a recovery pretty much all day, recovering half. So again, while this is the second time this area works, we're holding the 663 to 658. However, the next level I have for you in the S&P 500 is going to be 650.34 to 646.50. 8. Matter of fact, change that to SPX, which is what we normally cover. Apologies for that. And here we go. That level is going to be 6663.5 to 6602. The next level I have for you is pretty much starting at 6500. So be mindful of that. Now that this is the second time that we've rejected these highs, I'm going to say we do have supply now in the S&P, and that's going to be at 6885.76 to 6919. Next, moving on to the NASDAQ or the NDX. As you can see, we penetrated deeper into this level. Meta's been the catalyst to that and bringing Meta down. Tesla also had a bad day on Friday. But as you can see that this level is pretty much, we won't use this again. Let's just say that. And the next level I have for you now in the NASDAQ is going to be at 23,877.55 to 23,668.99. On the supply side, 25,873.76 to 26,206.45. For those of my aggressive trader, for those of you who know how to trade on the lower time frames, if you take one of my courses, we can utilize this level again on the smaller time frame. That's going to be 25,409.71 to 25,707. That should line up with a lot of our Mag 7 zones that you received over the weekend. Next, covering the Dow Jones or the DIA, as you can see, it's a little bit stronger. We did not get into this zone again. So that level is still holding. That's going to be the 467.24 to 464.79. So the Dow Jones a little stronger than the QQQs and the S&P, and the QQQ or the NASDAQ being the weakest. Moving on to the almighty rut. As you can see, we have been staying within both of our levels that have been brief this year. We have finally made it back down to the 2386.04 to 2327. You can see we're bouncing from this area. Now that we are in this area, I'm going to move this level down to right there. And the next level I have for you is going to be at 2236.46 to 2200 with supply at 2510.23 to 25.42. Now, moving into earnings for the week, the first company I have for you is Trip.com, ticker symbol TCOM, and they are reporting Monday after the market. No supply in this company. First demand zone I have for you is at 65.82 to 62.62. Next company is XP Inc., ticker symbol XP. As you can see, this is the level that's been holding it. It's dropped from here 3 times, so this is an aggressive level. It is also a cheaper stock. However, so we'll see how you can play earnings on this. On the demand side, 14.06 to 13.51. On the supply side, 19.43 to 2067. However, just realize this is an aggressive level as it has worked 3 times. Now, moving on to Tuesday morning, Home Depot, ticker symbol HD. On the demand side, 350.97 to 345.59. In the event of an overshoot, 323.90 to 318.53. On the supply side, 392.60 to 397.65. Just realize that this area has worked on numerous occasions. The higher probability trade is going to be at 406.39 to 411.42. Next company I have for you is Baidu, ticker symbol BIDU. On the demand side, 85.10 to 72.99. This is where this vehicle has turned from and has continued upwards. On the supply side, 157.30 to 160.38. They also report Tuesday morning. Next company I have for you is Futu, ticker symbol FUTU. There is no supply on this vehicle. 126.07 to 111.01 on the demand side. Next company I have for you is Amer Sports, ticker symbol AS. On the demand side, 25.93 to 24.65. On the supply side, 33.68 to 35.84. Next company I have for you is Pinduoduo Inc., ticker symbol PDD. As you can see, we're pretty much rejecting this area of the supply here at 139.72 to 145.99. And the demand zone I have for you is all the way at 95.05 to 91.36. Next company I have for you is Medtronic, ticker symbol MDT. On the demand side, 81.64 to 79.26. And on the supply side, 104.16 to 106.13. Moving on to Tuesday after the market, first company I have for you is Dolby, ticker symbol DLB. On the supply side, 79.52 to 81.66. And on the demand side, 52.20 to 44.83. Next company I have for you is SQM, ticker symbol SQM. On the demand side, 36.84 to 35.59. And on the supply side, 59.20 to 64.78. Moving on to Wednesday morning, first company I have for you is Target, ticker symbol TGT. On the demand side, 86 even to 78.21. And on the supply side, it's very far away. However, let's do this. We're going to use the 111.81 to 118.43. Next company I have for you is Wix, ticker symbol Wix. On the supply side, 171.43 to 182.47. On the demand side, 106.38 to 101.45. Next company I have for you is TJX, ticker symbol TJX. No supply on the demand side, 134.19 to 130.86. Next company I have for you is Lowe's, ticker symbol LOW. Pretty much similar chart to Home Depot, so you may want to see how Home Depot reacts on Tuesday to execute on Lowe's on Wednesday. Demand zone being 228.39 to 221.62, and then on the supply side, 254.22 to 259.07. In the event there's an overshoot here at the 228 level, you got another demand zone at 209.73 to 205.61. NVIDIA will be reporting Wednesday afternoon. However, out of respect to my members who pay for the Mag 7, I will not be covering NVIDIA this week. So for those of you who are subscribed, go ahead and check out the Mag 7 email you received. Moving on to Palo Alto, there is no supply on the demand side, 165.18 to 157.57. They also report on Wednesday afternoon. Moving on to Thursday morning, good old Wally Walmart. Made an all-time high here of 109.58. They got some news that their CEO was going to retire on Friday. So the market saw a drawdown. And I'm not sure what happened to my levels here, but I'm going to go with 2 levels here. 90.75 to 87.87, and then 83.95 to 79.41. And there is no supply on Walmart, as just recently made an all-time high of 109 post the split. Next company I have for you is Zim, ticker symbol ZIM. On the demand side, 11.44 to 9.74. On the supply side, 23.79 to 24.97. Next company I have for you is Viva, ticker symbol VEEV. You can see it sitting in the supply level. Just utilize this with caution. This level being 287.86 to 328.52. Very, very large level. On the demand side, 243.21 to 231.82. Moving on to Gap Inc., ticker symbol GAP. You can see that Gap has pretty much just been staying between both our levels all year. So for those of you who are looking for a cheaper stock to trade or just looking for something to buy to take level to level, on the demand side, 19.53 to 17.89. On the supply side, 27.72 to 29.31. Next company I have for you is Elastic, ticker symbol ESTC. On the demand side, 60.44 to 54.11. And on the supply side, 110.32 to 118.26. As you can see, this has been sideways all year. So an Iron Condor might be the way to go on this vehicle this week. Next, moving on to Intuit, ticker symbol INTU. As you can see, we've been bouncing off this level on several times, so just be mindful that this might be aggressive. However, this level being 641.52 to 609.03. If you want to be more conservative, you got the 585.40 to 557.54 on the demand side. On the supply side, you got the 767.29 to 793.63. And the last company I have for you is Ross Stores, ticker symbol ROST. No supply in this company. First demand level I have for you is 116.14 to 108.45. Now, moving on to the news. I know I did this backwards this week, but the government finally opened so we can start covering news again. As you can see, on Monday, the Canadian dollar will be effective prior to the market open, so be mindful of that. That's going to be pre-market for those of you trading futures and Forex. Nothing on Tuesday that impacts us. However, the Australian dollar will be affected after hours, as will the British pound. So once again, nothing affecting the U.S. markets, as I previously stated. The reason being, we will be waiting for NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. As you can see on Wednesday, prior to the close at 11 o'clock, we got FOMC minutes to determine whether or not they will cut interest rates in December. So be mindful of what's said by Jerome Powell on Wednesday. Should cause some volatility, ironically, right into NVIDIA's earnings. And then on Thursday, everything will happen. We'll be reacting towards NVIDIA earnings. Pre-market, we have unemployment rate, we have non-farm employment exchange, we have hourly earnings. So a lot of things are going to be happening Thursday morning, so pay attention. And we got unemployment claims. I know this says tentative. There was a debate on whether or not they were going to release last month's due to the close. However, we will see whether or not they do release this report. In the evening, we'll have the British pound that's being affected for those of you trading futures and Forex. And then finally on Friday morning, the euro will be affected. So that should impact the US dollar as well, the British pound. And then we will have 15 minutes after the open. Be mindful, we will have two PMI reports. So again, volatility starting pretty much on Wednesday through Friday. So plan accordingly with your trades and your positions. With that being said, that's going to do it for me in the charts this week. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to shoot me an email. Do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe button. If you like this content that you're receiving, feel free to check out the website. Follow me on social media. Until next time, happy trading.